So, folks, we need to talk about current events that are unfolding as we speak, and the situation is very fluid. But Israel launched an all out air campaign against Iran. It has hit the capital of Iran, Tehran. It appears, or at least in some of the statements coming out of Israel and the Israeli leadership, that they have conducted attempts to assassinate much of the leadership of Iran with varying degrees of success. However, one of the people who has been killed is essentially would be essentially the equivalent of the chiefs of staff, the head of the chiefs of staff. Let me pull this up here. Yeah, there are a number of high level both nuclear scientists as well as politicians as well as military leaders that have been hit. Multiple nuclear scientists have been killed. Major General Hossein Salami, commander in chief of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, has been killed. Yes, his name is Salami. And guys, again, this would be like someone targeting like our entire military leadership and getting like the head guy in charge. You know, this is basically, you know how last time like the United States did an assassination in Iran, we killed like their top general, Soleimani, and well, Israel has basically done that, but also at a wide scale in the capital of Tehran. Like this is like maybe the biggest escalation you could get. We're not going to get Iran surprisingly having a subdued response to this. Is this just for giggles? So a lot of you will be asking, why is this happening, right? And the why this is happening seems to be that one, the war hawks in Israel have been wanting this for a while, but also essentially the US and Iran have been in talks negotiating a nuclear treaty because Donald Trump 8 years ago ripped up the nuclear treaty, and surprise, surprise, without a nuclear treaty or any reason to not pursue nuclear weapons, Iran has been building up its ability to enrich uranium so that, you know, they say they can build nuclear reactors for energy, which is a reasonable reason to do that. And so what's happening now is as the minutes go by, we're getting more and more images. For example, like this residential building, I believe in Tehran, the top two floors just burnt out from explosions. There's a lot of other damage, some pretty extensive, like building collapse extensive, you know, a lot of different areas with like these blown out segments of apartment complexes. It's going to result in maybe biggest regional war because I don't see any path for this to de-escalate. In the past, there have been military strikes done by Israel within Iran, but Iran has been able to respond by largely doing deliberately low stakes missile attacks that look very impressive, but ultimately don't do that much damage. That is not going to be their go-to this time. They aren't going to be aiming for, you know, the empty airfields and such. You know, some of this is, well, I mean, people are out on the streets in Tehran and they are not happy about this. They're not happy about being woken up by fucking explosions. Here's some video.
اینجا رو زدن اینجا رو هم زدن این لویزانم زدن پشت لویزانم زدن.
You can see the smoke rising from multiple different attacks. Here's another one. And not huge fans of seeing mushroom clouds over their cities. The Ayatollah put out a statement maybe 30 minutes ago, Ayatollah Khomeini, about how the there is going to be some significant response, and I don't know that there is going to be a de-escalation for this in the near future.
ساعت الان 3:37 ورودی فرحزاده پایین یه ساختمون مسکونی زده شده.
Like, and yes, it's true. Like, it's not worth immediately jumping to like, oh, this is going to be World War III or anything like that. But understand that Iran has shut down its entire airspace, not temporarily, but like for the foreseeable future. And Netanyahu is talking about how this bombing campaign is going to continue for days. For however many days it takes. This is, it's not World War III, but I think there's a very real possibility here of a regional conflict, the likes of which we haven't seen in a while. And if that does happen, America will almost certainly become involved at some point. There's apparently a fourth wave of strikes happening now across Iran. It's gonna be it's gonna be bad. And of course, you have a number of folks out there like Lindsey Graham being Lindsey Graham. Like I don't know, like Lindsey Graham, right? You're a US politician, right? You're doing this. You're like saying game on. It's not a fucking game. People are going to die. Civilians are going to die. And number two, the United States has been negotiating so that Iran won't have nuclear weapons. Israel attacking them only encourages them to fast track a nuclear weapon. Specifically, because they need to get one in order to deter this kind of violence. And so, like, when you say game on, pray for it, like, game on what? Undermining U.S. geopolitical interest? Undermining U.S. negotiating? Whatever happened to America first? I thought Lindsey Graham was all for that, but suddenly it's just completely evaporated. You know, like these people don't even give a shit about like nationalism, like they try and espouse. They don't give a shit about Donald Trump. They don't give a shit about anything other than their bottom line. Who is giving Lindsey Graham money? They don't care. How powerful is Iran? Very powerful. It is a very capable country. Also, again, like Lindsey Graham's like pray for Israel as if like Israel is being attacked right now by Iran. Israel is the aggressor here. Israel is the one unilaterally taking this action to attack Iran. To kind of explain Iran's strength here. Iran has a very large and capable military. They have a number of proxy forces in the areas and countries around them. And also, they have good drone technology. And also, their country is built like a fortress. I mean, it is maybe one of the most impossible places to invade on the planet, which I'm guessing is why Israel's probably not going to do that. But like, it is you don't want to be tasked with invading Iran. It's like invading Russia during winter. Oh man, the death toll is insane. I haven't seen any reporting on that yet. Can I just like CNN over here? I love CNN, you know? They have such good insight. Analysis. Why Israel's attack on Iran could spiral into a regional war and drag in the US. And it's like because they bombed their capital. Why might this spiral into a regional war? Because they bombed the capital of the country. Like I don't know. Like when one country bombed Pearl Harbor, not even the capital of America, we went to war. We participated in a world war. I don't know. Does it really require that much analysis? Yeah, like the issue is there's not an off ramp. Like this is not something that the leadership in Iran can simply go, oh, okay, you know, that's a gimme. We'll just do like a hollow retaliatory strike to restore, you know, the population's faith in the government and everything will be fine. No, this has to like go into a different level of retaliation for the survival of the Iranian regime. It seems like the world war is ahead of humanity. Leaders of so many governments seem charging towards it. Maybe. They struck several apartment buildings. Yeah, it's been quite bad. The statement from Ayatollah Khomeini warns Israel will face severe punishment for its attacks on Friday. With this crime, the Zionist regime has prepared a bitter and painful fate for itself, and it will certainly receive it. Iran's main uranium enrichment facility has been struck. Apparently, Israel is telling all civilians to shelter in bomb shelters in Israel as they prep for a response. Yeah, it is difficult to say when the Iranian response is going to come, but I imagine there was a plan in place to retaliate in a case of an event like this, because it's not completely unexpected that Israel would launch this type of attack, but the top commander kind of being taken out might be a hitch in the giddy up of implementing that plan. Yeah, exactly, Vox Syndicate. Like, I think it was earlier this year, late last year, Iran had a response towards Israel doing a limited bombing campaign in their territory, and they bombed mostly empty fields. I don't know if anyone even died in that attack. Maybe like 1 or 2 people in Iran's response. That's not going to be the case this time. So it'll be interesting, I guess. Yeah, last October, Iran fired 200 ballistic missiles at Israel. The Iranian missiles take about 13 minutes to reach Israel. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Yeah, also, apparently the Trump administration is trying to say, we had nothing to do with this, fellas. And Iran is not having any of it. They're putting out statements that the U.S. and Israel will be visited with vengeance. So that's cool. Hopefully, I'm really hoping the United States doesn't need to go to war. And by doesn't need to, I mean doesn't go to war. I think maybe one of the lucky things here is the survival of Ayatollah Khomeini, because I think if he had been killed, that would basically be the nail in the coffin. Like Iran would be going fucking nutso. Oh, God. Yeah, basically every other country in the region is starting to put out statements now and basically being like, no, that ain't it. That ain't it. Why did you do that? Oman holds Israel responsible for this escalation and its repercussions and calls on the international community to take a firm and clear position to stop this dangerous approach, which threatens to exclude diplomatic solutions and undermine the security and stability of the region, the government of the Gulf Arab country said in a statement. Yeah, not great. And prior to this, there was some inkling by the U.S. government that something bad was going to happen. The United States has been slowly pulling different government staff and facilities, not facilities, but staff and workers and allies out of the region because this was seeming to be more and more imminent. This is actually a good insight. This is from NBC News here. Senator Murphy says Israel attack is meant to scuttle Trump talks, which is probably true. Senator Chris Murphy said Israel's attack on Iran was clearly intended to scuttle Trump administration's negotiations with Tehran. Strikes are further evidence of how little respect world powers, including our own allies, have for President Trump. Yep, Chris Murphy is likely correct on that. That bombing not only destroys one of Israel's largest, the leadership of one of Israel's largest enemies, but it also stops America from formalizing a treaty with that enemy that they want to attack. And frankly, one of the goals of Netanyahu and his government have been to drag the United States into a war in order to then have effectively the United States as additional troops on the ground. It's not in their best interest to get these deals done. It's in their best interest to continue to subjugate and, attack other countries in the region. There have been 5 waves of attacks now by Israel. Yeah, it also has the AP reporting on this. For Netanyahu, the operation distracts attention from Israel's ongoing and increasingly unpopular war in Gaza, which is now over 20 months old. There's a broad consensus in the Israeli public that Iran is a major threat, and Israel's opposition leader, Yair Lapid, a staunch critic of Netanyahu, offered his full support for the mission against Iran. But if Iranian reprisals cause heavy Israeli casualties or major disruptions to daily life, Netanyahu could see public opinion quickly shift, which is, again, one of the things that is happening here is, it's not just Donald Trump that needs to shift and play this shell game when it comes to public opinion. It's also Benjamin Netanyahu. They're both strongmen. They're both trying to keep all their plates spinning, keep the shell game shelling, and for Netanyahu, shifting the attention from Gaza, where, they're doing ethnic cleansings, to Iran. Well, that's a winning strategy because even his opposition leader wants to go to war with Iran, So it's very, very interesting. We'll have to see how... I'm very curious to see how the Iranian military actually responds to this. Yeah, even Marco Rubio's like, we were not involved in the strikes against Iran. Our top priority is protecting American forces in the region. And apparently this is all still going on while the United States is still trying to negotiate with Iran. So we'll see what happens there, I guess. And I guess Donald Trump hasn't talked with his head of national security yet because he has that scheduled for tomorrow. So he's just kind of taking the night off. It's quite interesting. We'll see how the anti-war president, Donald J. Trump, handles this, won't we? We'll see, right? God, I can't believe people still keep calling him anti-war. I guess we're putting that to the test. Trump was just at the UFC fights. Yeah, of course he was. Art of the Deal about to be shown off. Yeah, exactly. Everything he learned while writing that book, which he didn't do. Honestly, I'm wondering how this is all going to play out. Mehdi Hassan over here being a little bit sassy, but raising a very good question. Does Iran have the right to defend itself? Valid question. I love Mehdi. Mehdi's really excellent, and I like him a lot. I'm sorry, Trans Rose Girl. You got some funny jokes, though. Mehdi is sharp? Hell yeah. I fucking hate Iran's government, but this is an unprovoked attack. Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with Iran's policies or its theocratic nature, but yeah, they got smacked first. They have the right. Is it in their interest? I mean, I think they have to, I think they have to, and I think at a certain point, they're gonna stop giving a fuck. But anyway, that seems to be the vast majority of the updates so far. Everyone is kind of waiting with bated breath to see what Iran is gonna do. There's not much more to talk about here until we get word of what they are gonna do. Do you think the shenanigans in the Middle East could accelerate or stop if Iran actually demonstrated a nuclear test? I think they would stop. Unironically, I think that the reason to get it is for a certain degree of mutually assured destruction, or at the very least pain. And so I think it would vastly change the power dynamic. Let's see. The attack hit dozens of locations across Iran. I'm still not seeing any information about the casualties. So you think the only reason Republicans criticize Iran for being a theocracy and say, they hate gays, right, is because they're jealous? No, it's because they're racist and xenophobic, and by and large, they hate them, they hate us. It's a transactional thing. No, I think it's racism, and they covet the natural resources of Iran. It's racism and xenophobia and anti-Muslim bigotry, while also wanting their stuff. Kind of the same reasons that Crusaders really disliked people in the Middle East. It's just bigotry and wanting to take their stuff at the end of the day. So that is where we're at, folks. And I think we have to move on, but it is an ongoing situation as things develop. I'll give you guys more updates.
Riverboat deck is coming to town. All the viewers gather around. Twitch and YouTube is switching streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, dating, plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.